Now, we all know life is hard, and the only way to get through it is to take it day by day and one step at a time. But does that really work? Go ahead and subscribe and get to know me. And these are my parents, if you didn't know.
Right.
In this video, I'll show you how we went from this to this in just a few hours. I know it's been quite a few home renovations, and I know y'all are used to me working on my little house. And then there was home renovation too on the second house, which we are still working on both. But behind the scenes, we were working on this project, and we are so glad to finally see it come to a close and get to where we can finally start renovating. And y'all know y'all will be along for that ride as well. All right, so this is the beginning of a new era for us. We've been working really hard to try to get this completed, to try to get this done, and it's looking promising. So this guy here, that's Tony Rogers, the head of Rogers Jr. House Moving. And he headed this project up and helped make it possible. And we really appreciate that. It really was a joy to work with him, and he really fought for us on the professional end. And he got the house moved at that. Hey y'all, so before I get too deep in the story, I want to give y'all just a little bit of background on how the process started, and then we're going to catch y'all up. I'm probably going to do a part 2 or maybe a part 3. I don't think it needs that much, but maybe a part 2. Of the process of how we even got this started. So back in September, my dad came across a opportunity to demolish a house. For years and years, we had been looking for a house to move. We would find them in like Maryland and Maine and stuff like that. And that just wasn't going to work to bring it all the way down to Texas. But this house was a couple of streets over. And it was actually on a street which we used to have a house on. So we decided to have the house moved. So we had to pay for the cost of moving the house. And that's where we found Rogers Jr. House Moving Company. This was an extremely tough process when it came to the permitting because we weren't sure if we were experiencing the fallout from gentrification or what, but it was extremely hard to get approved. The permitting process, I would say, started in maybe at the end of September. At the beginning of October, I got a frantic call from my mom and my dad about how they weren't going to allow us to do anything, and we had to pay another $500. The permitting process already cost, but we were being like charged and then the permitting process comes in different steps. So I would say it was about 20 steps. And every time we would get one approved, let's say this first chapter, we would get this one approved, and sorry, this one says no, and then the other ones would be approved. This one says no because of X, Y, and Z. Okay, we would overcome that. Next chapter, same thing would happen. Somebody would say no, and then the final straw ended up being from the flood zone area. And so Mr. Rogers would communicate with me, and I would use my resources that I had put together, and I would reach out. So one day when I got that frantic phone call, I reached out to everybody that I could find in the city of Dallas. And I'm going to insert the email here. And I let them know that we felt like we were being discriminated against due to the gentrification that was going on in that area, which is something that we had been warned about since we was growing up. Even my parents, when they was growing up, they talked about how that area was going to be a hot spot in the future. So I called everybody that I could in the city of Dallas. I emailed. I was really causing a stink. That's something that I really do. If it's something on my mind, I will call you every day at 3:06 p.m. at that exact time and tell you the same story over and over until somebody give me what I want. That's just me. So I caused a stink in the city of Dallas that week, and they appointed Mr. Alex Barkoon to help me. And he was really amazing. He really advocated for me and my family. He understood. He helped get the job done. But one part of it that he couldn't help us with, they declared that specific property a flood zone area. And I can kind of see why they said it, but I can also not see it because we have a house next door. So whatever. And they were building houses all around that same area. So we think that this area's been a certain way for so long. They really want new ownership because they want it to look a different way. But we're trying to fix our areas up. We're trying to come up with the property, but we want to be black and own some real stuff. That's what this is all about. And we had Mr. Rogers going down doing the research with the engineers and things like that. And in the end, we had to fight with the flood zone department. That other people were dealing with attitudes like not really going for us, not really going for our project. But in the end, we came up with a plan. We had to get an engineer involved, and we had to come up with a plan to make the house flood resistant. So that's why in the last clip, you see the house lifted up. Now, I know the house looks a certain way, and I promise you it's not going to stay like that. So it's going to be a whole renovation project. And I think that this one is going to probably be our nicest house yet because my mom is excited. I'm excited. It's really a new and fresh start, and it's sustainable, y'all. We are recycling a whole house. You don't have to cut down any more trees. Well, might have to get a couple of them, but the bones of the house are good. We just recycling a lot of stuff, and that really makes me happy to do anyways. So all in all, everything worked out. We got the approval to the house finally. Sometimes when roadblocks keep getting in your way, you really know you headed in the right direction. But now we have to get the house moved. Stay tuned for the next episode.